All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to call it 2 p.m. Hawaii time. I'm going to call it 8 p.m. East Coast time and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. This is Mad Statter today, and you guys are the chatters with Statters, and we together make the Chatterbox happen. It is Chatter with Statter today, and it looks like we've got more people in the house than I anticipated because if I remember correctly, or if my phone isn't lying to me, I thought that Andy Bumatai was doing a Black Hat session right now. But it looks like you guys are like, Black Hat, we done that. Now it's time for even more chaos. Even more chaos. So we've got Terry in Scotland coming in with 4 viewers. Let's see here who else. We've got Darlene in the house. We have got Rick shouting out our friend Lono. We've got Penel coming in with that there raid. And let's see here. We've got Katie's Aura. And Rick and Darlene and Terry and Penel. Penel, thank you so much for subbing. And Penel saying aloha to Ashes, Dusty, and Leo. And let's see here. Penel, 45 months in a row. Thank you so much. Cola T getting bundled up to go outside. It's 44 in Otaru. She's in Otaru near Sapporo. She's in Otaru near Sapporo. And so she's getting bundled up. I'm bundled up because it's 62 degrees in my house. I haven't turned on my heater, and so now I'm all being all cozy. And Pacola T, thank you for bundling for 48 months, for subscribing for 48 months. And speaking of all cozied up and bundled up, Mr. Leo was asleep in my closet again last night. He was all snoozled in so cozily, and gave him some ear scritches when I went to bed, and he snoozled down into his bed, and I had my kitties on my bed. We were all just snoozling in the bedroom all together. It's a wonderful thing. I have a feeling Mr. Leo is starting to realize the benefits of a warm place to sleep at night. And Mr. Leo is starting to realize that there's plenty warm spaces here. So I'm very excited about my potential new winter roommate. Last winter, I anticipated he would come visit, but he actually didn't visit that much. But I have a feeling this winter he's going to be here a little bit more often. And Rick, I turned the heater on last night. Looks like a long winter coming. Yeah, exactly. I don't know off the top of my head. Whoa, we've got a hype train. How did that happen? Well, whoa, you got pregnant. How did that happen? You know how that happens. Thank you so much, you guys. I didn't even realize we had that hype train going on. And let's see here. God dang it. No, I'm on the wrong part of my phone. No, I don't want that. Yeah, here we go. It is 47 degrees out in Burien. That is what I was trying to say. And Penel, heat is on in your house. 40 degrees in the Scotland area. I'm going to hope and assume that there's some heat on in that house as well. Hey, Petrichor, good to see you. Penel, now this you guys are going to witness something that I probably have never. This is a first time in my life kind of event. Penel, good game. You guys, your team beat our team fair and square. Good on those little Toronto Blue Jays. I hope that they go on to win the series, because here's the deal. If you beat us, you better win. And I normally don't pay any attention to sports balls, but when my team from my city gets that high into it, you can't help but know what's going on. And this was the first time the Seattle Mariners ever got this high up in the playoffs. So even though we didn't get to the World Series, I think we're like the only team in the Major League Baseballs that haven't gotten to the World Series. So even though we didn't get there, which was kind of a bum deal, it was a bum deal. It was a total bum deal. I was at the bar when it happened. It was a bum deal. But either way, you get caught up in it. I'm proud of how our team went. And it was a fight to the finish. Every team should be. Now this is where I'm like the second grade mom. Everyone should be proud of themselves. Everyone did a good job. Everybody should be very proud of what they've done here. And okay, Pinnell, right, exactly. I had a feeling that you probably weren't like a sports ball person, just like I'm not. But once it gets to a certain level, this you just can't help but like notice the vibe. And so, you know, it's just sometimes when you want to talk to somebody, sometimes if you're planning on talking to anybody randomly in the public, you got to know what's going on with the random public. And when the sports ball teams are doing the random public stuff, that's all big deal. You just sort of have to learn it by osmosis, right? And Petrichor, good golly, I'm not even sorry. I don't know what you're not sorry for, but is it not watching the sports ball? Because let me tell you right now, don't be sorry for that. And Rick, I hope Toronto wins too. Yeah, you know, and I don't know what, hey, Trail Dust, how warm is it in your neck of the woods? And Elaine, by the way, good to see you. And let's see here, Truck Cry, I'm not sure what those emotionables mean there, shakalak. But what I do know is, I bet there were people jumping around in the street there in Toronto. I don't even want to think about what would have happened in Seattle if they had won, especially in Seattle. There would have been mayhem. The next day there would have been an outcry. The day after that there would have been a fundraiser to fix all the things that the mayhem caused, and then we would fix them, because that's basically how things happen here in Seattle. We might have a riot in the streets, but at least the riotous mass will wait until the crosswalk says we're supposed to cross the street. Because for real, actually, that did happen once. And 41 degrees in the Minnesota area, I think. Or I don't know about Minnesota. Wait, Trail Dust, is that where you're at, Minnesota? I know you're near there. I feel like you might be Michigan. I feel like, anyway, in the upper Midwest, it is 41 degrees. And PPP Bang coming in from Finland. Good to see you, man. Right now, we're talking about something that I never thought we would talk about on my stream, which is baseball. And we're talking about how good the Toronto Blue Jays did. And Terry coming in with the truth. Even as somebody who, okay, when someone who is not sports ball oriented notices a bad decision amongst a player or a coach, you know that it is a bad decision. And Terry in Scotland coming in with, Mariners fans may have a few questions for their manager's pitcher choices. All I can say is, dude. I mean, like, dude. In other words, to translate that to actual words, I know, right? I mean, what were they thinking? Good Lord. That's what dude meant. Exactly, Petrichor. I only watch cool people skate in circles and try to knock people over. As a general rule, that is my goal in life as well. But yes, you are in Minnesota. Okay, cool. Can throw a rock and hit Wisconsin. I knew that you were near other states. I just couldn't quite remember. But at least I didn't make stuff up. I kind of did. I just was lucky when I made it up. And so, since I don't have sports cable, says Rick, I didn't really see any postseason games on TV so far. Oh my God, Rick. Yeah. That's why lots of people were going to the bar to watch the games these days, because in my neck of the woods, I think it's everywhere, of course, in America at least, you have to have all those special extra sports packages in order to watch the games, and that is such bull fork. We had plenty of conversations in the bar where words were thrown, things were shouted, and we were all aggressively agreeing with each other about how messed up it is that you can't even watch the local sports team in the flippin' playoffs without paying extra money. I mean, and now here's where I'm, get off. This is my get off my lawn. This is my get off the lawn moment. But back in my day, you watched the game on the local sports channel, and if the game didn't sell out or sell enough tickets, then the local people weren't allowed to watch it, because that was how they sold the tickets. But I'll tell you right now, the Seattle venues very rarely aren't sold out. There's no reason that the local hometown, we can't buy any more tickets. The tickets are sold. Show us the game on the TV. And when I say us, I don't mean me. I don't normally care. But all these other people, they care. And so there we go. Terry, of course, I watched it all over here, but I have my but I have my pirate ways, is what Terry's saying. And Mama Sean, good to see you. E-Music, good to see you. And Petrichor, you're near the border of Oregon and Washington right now. The Seattle Freeze mentality doesn't exist down here. People are so friendly. It's weird. Yeah, Petrichor, I gotta say, when I am out and about in the Seattle area and I talk to people, because I like to talk. It's a secret. Anyway, yeah. People always get very surprised and confused when they find out that I'm actually from here. And inevitably they always say the same thing. No one from here actually talks to people. I am the exception to that rule. I absolutely have no problem randomly talking to strangers, and randomly talking to strangers is actually one of my favorite pastimes. Exactly, Petrichor. I never would have guessed that you like to talk. Never. And Pinel, tickets here are already going for $20,000. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, all I know is the vibe and consensus I'm getting from this stream is everybody wants the Birds to win. And I hope that is the case, because the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't know what it is. There we go, Trail Dust. I like to talk. It's a secret. Get your t-shirt here. You can quote me on that. But I'll tell you what, dude, I don't know why the Dodgers, any team from Los Angeles, I don't want them to win. I just don't. And randomness before I go, says Bacola T. Gonna miss Japanese toilets. Used one next to train station yesterday, and the toilet seat was heated. Petrichor, already gotta go. Got a mental health thingy, no problem. Have love for you. Stay safe, stay warm, stay awesome. You as well. And I'm gonna guess you're probably around Ridgefield, maybe Vancouver. Anyway, you stay safe down there, and don't get the Portland on ya, because then you might end up staying there, and then you won't be a Washingtonian anymore, which may or may not be a good thing, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, Vancouver. Yeah, I figured you were down in that area. Right on. Awesome. Well, have yourself a good Washington Vancouver stay. And but you do want to go to Portland. Yeah, I figured. Well, one quick bus trip will get you down there. Of course, you got to get the bus ticket. That's a whole different thing, but either way, so good to see you again. Go stay safe, go stay warm, and have some of your leftover pizza if you've got any. The frogs are your friends. Yes, well, the fact that you've got frogs near you is a good thing, because frogs, I used to have a bunch of frogs in the pond down the street, but they don't live there anymore, and I don't know why. It makes me sad. But all right, you guys, so we got so distracted by sports ball talk. What the heck? It's time to actually start the party, so let's get the Black Cat intro over with, and then, all right, a hooey ho there, Petrichor, and then we'll talk more about spending stupid money on things like that. Wow, 20 cray. Oh, wow, I didn't mute my mic, so you probably heard me muttering to myself, 20K, 20K, and then sucking on my coffee. Sorry about that, you guys. Have a good one, Bacola tea. Enjoy your toilet seats. Go, you need to just why don't you just get a Japanese toilet for your house? You can buy them, And let's see here. Terry and Scotland, you've been watching the recruitment of American health professionals to Vancouver Island on Facebook. Nanaimo needs doctors and nurses. That's really, kind of surprising to me, in the sense that Nanaimo is not that remote. Obviously, Victoria is the larger, city, the bigger metropolis on Vancouver Island, but Nanaimo is definitely one of the top 5 cities in population. It's not out in the middle of nowhere. It's not like it's up, Parksville, Qualicum. These names mean nothing to you guys, but for people who know the island actually know what I'm talking about. That is so strange and unfortunate that they've got such a lack in a place that really isn't that rural. I understand, far out podunk places always have problems with doctors, but gosh darn, dude, Nanaimo is not that. Nanaimo's not that out there. And hey, Mariana, good to see you. We are randomly talking about expensive toilets in Japan, the expensive tickets to the game, the big game, the World Series. Toronto, dude, they're talking about $20,000 per ticket. That's what they're selling these tickets for the World Series. I cannot even imagine. And then we're also talking about family doctors in and how hard they're to find in Canada. On the other hand, though, Penel, to tell you the truth, doctors are kind of hard to find here in the U.S. as well. The clinic or the insurance company that I work with has a pool of doctors that I can use, and I have yet to have the same doctor for more than 2 years in a row, because they move on outside of that insurance pool, and it seems like I would just rather go randomly to some doctor. I would get just as much health care from some random doctor that I just go to, off the street than the kind of care that I'm getting with the stupid insurance coverage I've got. But that's just me being cynical. And we've got Andreas Leek Fredrickson saying, well, okay, first up, PPP Bang, is that you? Because they're saying things that I can't even think about pronouncing. And given what it is, it looks like it might be Finnish. If it's not PPP Bang, I'm sorry that I am not calling, that I assumed you were. But Andreas Leek Fredrickson, I know you're not my friend. I know you're not my friend Eld from Norway. I don't even know if that's Norwegian. I don't even know. Y'all, what language is that Andreas is showing us? And is that PPP Bang? I feel like it is. He's all being sneaky. But, if it's not, that's okay. We've got another European viewer who can speak a language that I not only can't speak, I can't even identify it. So, hi, I'm an American. I'm an American. Darlene, can it be translated? I don't know. Not currently with the technology I have up in my on my screen, but I'll bet it could. So here, let's see here. Let me go see if I can. There we go. All right, I'm gonna copy it and paste it and figure it out later on. But right now, I'm not going to because because I'm here, right here. And Terry in Scotland says, UK hospitals are still pretty good, but general practitioners are becoming a joke. Can't make an appointment for love nor money. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Oh, YouTube translated it? Twitch does not. Let's see, did Restream? Nope, definitely did not. Sing now, let's go tiger hunting, tongue right, immune catch. PBB Bang, is that you? Yeah, Terry, I figured you ran it through a translator. I figured you did. In which case, I can still only say, PBB Bang, is that you? I feel like it is. And by the way, baby doll, how is your baby doll, PBB Bang? If you're still here, if that is you. If it's not you and you're still here, whatever, it doesn't matter. I want to know, how is your little kitten? I mean, I know it's not a kitten, it's a puppy, but how is your puppy dog? Because for those of you who might not know or didn't remember, PBB Bang got a cute puppy dog, and now the puppy dog is probably twice as big as when we saw the puppy dog in the little pictures. And so, if he's still here, I'm very curious, how's little Pupperdoodle is doing? And let's see here. What do we have today to talk about things and stuff? Yes, he did get a new puppy. He did. And by the way, I meant to update you guys on the, kittens that have been born, a couple weeks ago. But I forgot to upload the pictures to the stream. So we're not going to see the kittens. But I can tell you that all the kittens have both their eyes open now, and they're all learning how to walk, and they've all at least doubled in size. So, they're definitely, they're fluffy and they're healthy, and one of the orange kitties is the biggest, and then the second girl kitty that came out, is the second biggest. But the first kitty, the girl kitty who came out, she is the most rambunctious. She's a little badass. She beats up the other boys. Oh my God, she is so tough. She is so tough. I love her so much. They're just learning to walk. So they're just falling over and not really going in any direction. They're just wiggly, but a little bit more movement. Yeah, very, very, very cute. And so I'm very sorry I don't have the pictures or videos, but one day we will. One day we will. And Terry, you know what? I don't know if you're right, but Terry suggests, let's go tiger hunting. Everybody's learning how. Come and go tiger hunting with me. And I'm sure that's exactly how he wanted me to say it. Not at all, actually. But, I think that that's exactly what that meant, what that phrase meant. Let's go tiger hunting. And in the kittens, there's 2 oranges, so there's 2 tigers to be hunted in the kittens. So next time we will have to go tiger hunting. And speaking of kittens, I may or may not have a kitten right here. I may or may not have a kitten within arm's reach. But I'll let her be there for a minute. I'll sneak her later. You have a picture of Fluffy sitting on her brother's head as a kitten. Exactly. Get a whiteboard and draw the kitties. No, you don't want to see that. You definitely do not want to see that. But we do have a kitten acting like she wants to be loved. So hold on one second, you guys. Let me just act all natural and everything. She's all just sitting there. Touch my hand. I want to touch your hand with my hand. Oh, look, she just touched hands. Well, you can't look, but. Yeah, Terry, I was thinking naked sock puppet kittens. There you go. And there's that. There's the little ashes. There we got. Not only did we go tiger hunting, we went Black Panther hunting, and we caught one. Yes, we did. We just caught a Black Panther. That's right. Yeah, Ashes basically is always the one who's within arm's reach of me. Exactly. Quickly grab the kitty. There's Ashes. Yep. And then, Trail Dust has his own black kitty in his lap. He's gone Black Panther hunting as well. And yes, Ashes is a pretty kitty. Her brother is very handsome. And I feel like, I'm a crazy cat lady for saying this, but honestly, you can tell which one's the boy and which one's the girl by looking at their face. Like, Ashes is a very feminine looking cat, and Dusty is a very handsome, rugged looking cat. And I know that a lot of people can't necessarily tell cats apart, or can't tell what sex the cat is, unless, they like look. But, for the most part, I can tell by looking at cat faces which one is which. Like, and I don't mean which one is which in mine. I mean, like, oh, that cat is a boy. I can tell by how his face looks. That looks like a boy face. And it's like, oh, that looks like a girl cat face. Just like boys and girls and humans, they look different, right? Boys and girls and cats actually look different too, I think. But I think maybe I'm just crazy enough to think that. And Tyreen is sitting on the other side of the sofa, love seat. And oh, hey, Thursday, that is a good name. I like that name. And you can understand the crazy cat ladiness, says Darlene, for even with dogs, sometimes it's obvious. For sure. And Mama Sean, my black cat was just yelling at me, wanted his dinner. Move it, lady. And Terry in Scotland coming in, I'm a crazy cat lady too. Okay, that's not what he said, but what he really said was, yeah, they do look different, which implies he's a crazy cat lady too. And yeah, Darlene, what a good question. I was wondering, how did Thursday get that name chosen? Obviously, Wednesday is a very legitimate name for folks, a la, the Addams Family. But Thursday, frankly, I like Thursday better than Wednesday as a name. And yeah, very curious, how did that name get chosen? So while we wait to find out how the name got chosen, I'm going to show you guys a quick little video. I don't know, it's like a minute and a half. And it is a bad video. Once again, this is trying to salvage any of my video that I took a couple weeks ago up on the the Mount Rainier Lahar flow of eastern King County and eastern Pierce County. And oh, you found him as a kitten, and it was a Thursday. Perfect. There you go. This is a little video of a little town called Buckley, and literally, as I mentioned earlier about this video, or this attempt of a video, I had a plan. I was gonna do a loop, but the loop was closed, and they said no, road closed, cannot. And so I had to reroute myself. So I had to reroute myself through Buckley. And this is an example of a tiny town that is very common in Eastern Washington. And I have no doubt in my mind, very common, speckled all throughout the rural areas of the United States. But when it comes to the Pacific Northwest, everybody thinks of cities and towns along the Puget Sound. And those are cities and towns that are generally, actual cities with a skyline, suburbs, blah, 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 blah. But we actually do have tiny little rural towns here too. And Buckley is an example of the tiny little rural town. And so get your Dramamine pills, because it's going to be a shaky one, because that's why this footage is basically not usable. But check out this big old building. That is a school. And this town used to be a very huge, thriving railroad town and logging town. And probably some coal there too, now that I think about it. But as you can see, unlike in the Puget Sound lowlands, this is a very flat, flat area. And once again, remember, this is all built on top of land that used to be on Mount Rainier. All this was a mud flow that flew down the mountain, leveled out, and I mean, obviously this was hundreds of thousands of years ago that happened. And then us humans came around and built up the small little town of Buckley. And further down the road is another town called Enumclaw that's probably twice this size. It's the big town of Enumclaw. It's just a huge place. But yeah, so that's basically one of our tiny little towns in eastern King County. And I had a feeling, Darlene coming in, it looks like some of the rural small towns up north in Wisconsin too. Exactly, I have a feeling that there's towns like this all over the United States. And so, hold on. You didn't think we were gonna not have one of these, did you? Look at that. All right, so here you go. As I said, Mount Rainier, off of Mount Rainier in eastern King County is where Buckley, the town of Buckley was formed. And eMusic, how or where did they get their names? I don't know. That I can only assume it. Okay, hold on. We're gonna go back to the map, but hold on. I can only assume that some dude who founded the town, his last name was probably Buckley. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that Buckley was named after the founder of the town. But Enumclaw? No flippin' clue where that name came from. Best guess is that area had a name in the local tribal languages, and I'm not sure which particular tribe. It currently goes under the Muckleshoot jurisdiction, but I don't know if the Muckleshoot is who was there when. Anyway, I'm guessing that Enumclaw was the white man's interpretation of whatever that area was called in the native tongue. Just like Seattle is the white man's version of Sealth. And Chief Sealth is the chief. He was a Native American Indian chief in the Seattle area, and that's what the town is named after the chief Sealth. But we aren't called Sealth, we're called Seattle. And so I can only assume that Enumclaw is a derivative, derives from a local native word, but cannot even guess. It is truly just a guess. And yes, now back to the important parts. So we got ourselves a map, and what we're looking at here is a map of all of the volcanoes in the arc, the Cascadia Volcanic Arc. So up and down the Cascade Mountains, we have all of these, okay, Mama Sean coming in. Yes, native name meaning loud, thunderous noise. Oh, Terry. Terry, I think you know the name. I know you know the name, because you wouldn't have asked that question if you didn't already know the name. Okay, so yes, it's a native name meaning loud, thunderous noise. I don't know if that refers to the rivers going through, the White River going through that area. I don't know if it has anything to do with the volcano, and perhaps you could hear volcano rumblings in Enumclaw. What I do know is loud, thunderous noises did at one point come from Enumclaw in a barn in the middle of the night where a guy died. And that's what Terry in Scotland is referring to. And yes, I know it's horrible. I shouldn't be laughing because a guy died. Here's the deal, y'all. Have you heard about the dude who died in Enumclaw? And why and how he died in Enumclaw? Well, I'll just tell you right now. There's a group of people who were doing bad things with animals. Or rather, letting animals do bad things to them. And they were breaking into this one barn over and over again. And one night, while doing what they had been doing, they were doing it, and then they did it, and yeah. Well, you see, there's this guy who bent over, and he ended up, you know how horses are really big, and they're, not many people die from a horse penis puncturing their heart, but a guy in Enumclaw did. So, yeah. Yeah, they were doing things. They were doing the wild thing. And, no, to be clear, the owner of the ranch, the owner of the horse, the owner of the property had nothing to do with any of this. What happened was people were breaking into that barn, and they had been for a while, but didn't until the thing happened. The owner didn't really know. Hey, Thomas the Turtle, we're talking about Enumclaw. And if you know anything about Enumclaw, well, yeah, we're talking about that. Anyway, so the owner, not until the horrible thing happened, did the owner realize, okay, his suspicions were true. Because the owner was saying, like, he had on several occasions gone to the barn and just been like, wait a sec, that's not right. That isn't, like, I didn't put that there. He could just tell somebody had been in his barn. And then, well, and then he had proof. So, yeah, do I have a video of this incident? No, I do not. But I do believe that if you did a YouTube search on Enumclaw horse guy, you will find plenty of comedians talking about this, because this did make nationwide news. This totally made nationwide news. And in fact, Terry in Scotland bringing it up from the UK, one could say it made international news, okay? Yeah. And this probably happened a decade ago, but when people hear the name Enumclaw, they do still think of that. And let's see here. Minnesota has a river the Indians called River of Spirits. The English folks named it after the spirits of choice, the Rum River. Different kind of spirit, yeah. And how about a map of this incident? You know, I don't have a map of this incident, but after the Lono listening break, I might be able to to round one up. But for real though, back to the map that I was talking about, not the map of Enumclaw. We're talking about the map of the volcanoes. So, Mount Rainier is in the middle, basically, of this cascade arc of volcanoes. These are all this map, actually, I'm a liar. This map is the major volcanoes of the volcanic arc of Cascades. This map, there's 18 or 19 red triangles. Those are all indicative of a major volcano. But there are minor volcanic peaks as well. And so, so let's see here. So this is the whole thing, but boop, that little area right here in a square, that red square that you can see now, I've got a picture of all of those volcanoes in a row. And, here we go. Boom. All right. So this picture is of all of these volcanoes, in real life. And this Lono fellow who I am speaking of, he lives on Molokai, and he's never been to Enumclaw, and I don't think he ever wants to. That's what I can tell you about that. But, all right, so this picture, here's a little quiz for you guys. And it shouldn't really be a trick question, but you can think it is or whatever. How many volcanoes do you see in this picture? Now, I just told you that this is a picture of these 5 volcanoes. But what if I told you there's more than 5? There is more than 5. And let me see here. Yeah, hold on. No. Oh, darn it. Okay, so if you can eMusic 19, you see some little ones. Exactly, Terry. I thought that I had them. But okay, so between the first two, that big pointy white zit, and then the next big old pointy white zit, between those two, there's a little peak, and gall dang it, here, I'm just gonna screw everything up. You're gonna see some things and stuff, and, whatever. Where did it go? There we go. Boom. We're doing this. Yeah, that's right. This is full. Whoa, no, we are not doing that. This is full. This is full broadcast quality. So do you see that little one in the green? That is also a volcano. And there's little tiny little micro volcanoes all throughout this region. And so this picture, even though it's like super cool, you've got the 5. Actually, no, dude, it's even super cooler because you've got the 6. And like Darlene said, yeah, dude, they're all in a row. It's kind of trippy. And how these volcanoes are all in a row and pretty much in eyesight of each other, with the right angles and lenses. And in Eastern Washington, in this town called Goldendale, there is a place where you can actually see 6 volcanoes. You see Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens. So Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, Glacier Peak, and Mount Hood. And all of these, yes, all of these particular volcanoes are absolutely active. Every single one of them is active. Now, ones further down in like California, and like Crater Lake is no longer active. I don't think Mount Shasta is active. I don't think Lassen Peak is active. Further south in California, no, I don't think they're active. And I can't tell you enough about the ones up in Canada. But what I can tell you is the ones that are in Washington and Oregon absolutely are all active. 100%. And shock, the most dangerous canoes are vol canoes. That is very true, Shock. Good to see you. And yeah, so yes, it's a lot of volcanoes. Well, luckily they're not. Okay, by active, let me just make this clear. They're not constantly grumbling and rumbling. It's just they're not extinct. That's really what I mean by active. Like, they could get active at any point. They're not dead yet. Now, Rainier, St. Helens, and Adams have all been showing steam action, earthquake action. They definitely are. They're actually active. Like, not active, of course, the way Kilauea is active, but they are active. Now, one thing here, let's go back to the picture. All of these are considered, I can't remember exactly the term, but they're cone volcanoes. Whereas this tiny little one, that volcano is a shield volcano. That volcano is more similar in structure to the volcanoes of the Hawaiian Islands. The Hawaiian Islands are considered shield volcanoes, and those erupt and flow slightly differently than the traditional cone-shaped ones that we see so obviously in this picture. So the ones, Rainier, Hood, St. Helens, Adams, Jefferson, these are the ones that you all see here. They're all the cone type. But the one in the circle, that's a shield type, which is one reason why it's not as tall. But yeah, there we go. Now, all this talk about the dangerous canoes, the vol canoes, has put us 4 minutes past our Lono listening break, which means I need to stop talking and we need to just start listening. So let's do that, shall we? All right. Yes, exactly. Fujiyama in Japan is a classic cone. Yes, Mount Hood is too. I got to tell you, Mount Hood here. All right, you guys. I promise we'll get there. But Mount Hood is not Mount Hood isn't the one that's closest. It's the one just past the green circle. Just look at that beautiful triangle. It really is. I don't like to give Oregon much credit because Washington is just like better, but they've got a better shaped volcano. All right. Now let's listen. Are you kidding me? I downloaded something very specifically for this show and I didn't upload it. God dang it. All right. Well, I don't know what we're going to do here. I guess we're going to just have to have some quality broadcast timing here. So hold on. Okay, here, actually, you guys do this. Go pay tribute. Do your honoring. Honor your volcanic gods here. And I'm gonna go fix stuff.
Okay, hang on. kunu au Hawaii.
All right, I've got lots of cats. Hold on. All right. Woo. Mr. Dusty came in. He wanted some loving, and then he got in the way, and then he got off my lap, and then he got back on my lap, and so here we are. We've got some kittens. Mr. Dusters. Being handsome as usual. Oh, he decided the mic needed adjusting. Here we go. Gonna go? He always knows when it is dinner time, and in my neck of the woods, it's 5:59, and as a general rule, he gets fed around 6 to 6:30. He walked in the house at right around 5:54. So, his internal clock is like, Mom, it's time for grinds. So there we have it. Dusty is a stud cat. He is. Although, even Dusty recognizes he's not as big of a stud as Leo is. Because Leo, still intact and like nothing but muscle. Leo is the one who, Leo's the man of the house. He's the man of the manor, but Leo's the man of the house. And thank you, Darlene. I love my kitties. I think they're very pretty too. They're brother and sister, and I got them from one of the people who work at the coffee stand that I go to. Even though I told myself I wasn't going to get any more kitties, when she said that I have a litter of 4 black cats and I need someone to take 2 of them, I was like, I feel like I have to. So I did. And now it's been like 10 years later, and there we go. They're my beautiful little black kitties. And I'm so glad that you guys think they're pretty too. And even if you don't think they're pretty, I'm glad that you pretend that I'm glad that you pretend it. Because I'll tell you what, right now, I went to the vet clinic once. This vet clinic literally is 2 blocks from my house. I could, if I needed to, carry my cats in my hands to this vet clinic. That is how close the vet clinic is. I went to them the first time. This was with different cats than I have now. And as the veterinarian was examining my kitty, I said that blah, 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 because he's the cutest kitty ever. Okay? Now, I expect that vet has heard something similar over his career a million times, because everybody should think that their kitty is the cutest kitty ever. But what a vet should not do is, well, in your opinion. No, what a vet should do is, I know, your kitty is so handsome. Your kitty is blah, blah, blah. You don't say in your opinion. And I kid you not, dude. I don't care how good that vet may or may not have been. I never went to that vet clinic again. I took my other kitty, and I drove back to my old vet clinic, which was 5 miles in each direction. I passed a million and never again did I take to that vet clinic, because if a veterinarian doesn't know good enough to pretend to to the kitty owner, that their cat, every cat that vet sees, he knows that that's the cutest kitty ever, right? I mean, come on. I thought that that's the first thing they teach you in veterinary school. You agree with the owner. Cutest kitty ever. I know, right? Exactly, Darlene. What? That is not cool. In your opinion. Yeah, no, my opinion is all that matters, mister. You're supposed to validate my opinion. Now, I understand when it comes to serious medical things or whatever, it's like, no, I don't think my kitty has diabetes. And the vet's like, your kitty has diabetes. Okay, fine. Disagree with the owner all you want. But when it comes to how cute the owner's cat is, eMusic, honestly, had he said, well, my kitty's even cuter, I actually would have been okay with that, I think. If he had actually said something like, tongue-in-cheek, obviously, he probably believes he has the cutest kitty. As well he should. As well, the vet should think that. Like I just said, everyone should think that they've got the cutest kitty, right? Their kitty is the cutest. Everyone should think that. And so if he did and he would have said that, I would have given him a little bit more credit, but instead, oh, well, that's your opinion or whatever. Something about, in your opinion. And it's like, you don't tell me that my orange handsome man, Mr. Whiskey, with his beautiful orange tuxedo-ness and his ring tail and his little white face with a little orange beauty mark, you're not going to tell me that he's not the cutest kitty ever. And shock, sadly, she's confessing, Tiki is not the cutest kitty ever. That was Mr. Snoot. Well, okay, I can appreciate that, but you're not a vet, so you're allowed to think that. Now, on the bright side, that particular, exactly, not just a cat lady, but a proud owner. You tell him. That's exactly it. Now, luckily, the people who worked and owned that vet clinic down the street from my house, they have since sold their practice, and the people who are running it now are the most awesome people ever. And so I actually am going to that clinic now. But for real, it took me like 20 years and finding out that they had sold the practice before I went back. So, I don't hold grudges ever. Just like I don't lie about holding grudges ever. And yeah, exactly, Terry. He should have quit while he was ahead. He obviously didn't know who he was dealing with. Exactly. But Tareen, There you go. Tareen is the cutest. See, now, and this is acceptable parsing of terminology. Penel, Tareen is the cutest. Fluffy was the beautiful kitty. And that is very true. My olive oil kitty, little girl kitty as she was known, was the most beautiful kitty. She was not cute. She was not cute. She was beautiful. And she knew it. Oh, she knew it. She had this move with her tail. She'd wrap her tail around Whiskey, because Whiskey and little girl kitty were boyfriend and girlfriend. She'd wrap her tail around Whiskey and then like centrally sort of rub his back with it around his head, it was just like, oh girl, you've got that fluffy tail action going on. And exactly, Elaine, they had to sell the practice. That's exactly it. They were so cold. They had to sell the practice. I'm sure it was because of me that they had to sell it 20 years later. Terry, she was a vamp. She treated that little fluffy tail of hers like a feather boa, man. She knew how to work that awesomeness. She had, I don't hold grudges ever. Lots of t-shirts tonight. There you go. They're always a special one in everyone's pet ownership. Exactly. Which is why I can't have another orange kitty, because Whiskey was the penultimate orange kitty, and I just can't. Even though I love orange kitties, I cannot. So it's just black cats for me. And Fluffy would look bored when people said she was beautiful. Oh, darling, I know I'm beautiful. Tell me something I don't know. Give me diamonds and sapphires, for God's sake. I know I'm gorgeous. Accentuate my beauty. Give me something sparkly. And if you don't give me something sparkly, then at least give me that chicken off your plate. I think that's what Fluffy was thinking. I never met Fluffy, but I think that that's exactly what Fluffy was thinking. Give me something sparkly, or give me the chicken off your plate. I need not be told I'm beautiful that much, I know. Am I giving the Fluffy vibe? All right, you guys. So, yes, exactly. They have their personalities for sure. Sassy, snobby, etc. Yes. Or playful and ridiculous, like this one time. And I'm sure I've said this story a million times, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you again. Whiskey, my orange cat Whiskey, he one day came running in. I was literally sitting, literally at this desk right here. He came running in from the outside like a bat out of hell. And he ran and hopped up on my desk. And there was somebody on the other side of my desk. We were talking. And he hopped up on my desk and sort of like knelt down, like did a downward dog kind of pose with his ass in the air and just farted in our faces. And then as quick as he ran off, as quick as he hopped up on the desk and farted, he like ran out. He literally just came in to fart in our faces. He came in to fart in our... Have you ever heard a cat fart before? Until then, I had never heard my cat, a cat fart. And we were both like, did he just oh God, yes, he just farted. Yeah, so he just came in, farted in our faces, and left. Seriously, he meant to do that. Hey, C Honda, good to see you. He totally meant to do that. And Mama Sean, our vet and Tex always say how cute and awesome our dogs are, but they are dachshunds, and Darlene will attest that they really are the cutest. Oh my God, spoken like a true pet owner. It's like, well, I know that they're just humoring me, but we all know that actually they're not, because because it's the truth. They're the cutest. And exactly, Darlene, what an attitude. It was quite funny. It was funny. It's still so funny that I can't help but talk about it to this day. And Whiskey has been dead for like probably 15 years now. And let's see, Elaine, my son had really long eyelashes. He got complimented so much he started fluttering his lashes with a, oh gosh, roll of his big eyes. Females almost fainted. He was only 2. Oh my God. He was only 2. What a charmer. And, wow, yeah, what a charmer. And also, though, Elaine, isn't it always the boys who get the good lashes? Actually, not just Elaine, everybody. Isn't it always the boys that get the good lashes? The thick, long, luxurious, looking like they came out of the womb with mascara on. It's amazing how the boys always get the lashes. And see, Honda, exactly, until that moment, I'd never heard a cat fart. But yes, exactly, I'd smelled it, but I'd never heard one. And for real, dude, I heard him fart. It was crazy. And I think to this day, I've never heard a cat fart. Except for that one time. And see, Honda, good to see you. Are you excited that your team is going to the big World Series? I am. I'm going to be voting for the Torontos because the Torontos beat the Mariners. And so if they beat the Mariners, then I want them to win. But I'm curious, how do you feel about your Dodgers? And also, what is the mascot of the Dodgers? Do you know? And let's see here. Yeah, exactly. Your granddaughter had the short lashes and everyone was like, what happened? Precisely. And Pinnell, my brother put a wig on once, made all of us girls depressed. He was so pretty. And yes, Darlene, yeah, I wish I had some of those lashes. You don't know how many times I had to use makeup just to barely show mine. Yep. And there we go, coming in. More proof for my pudding. Mama Sean, oh my God, my younger son had long eyelashes. These dark blue eyes, people always commented too. And see, Honda, super excited for the Dodgers. Yep, there you go. And Shock, my husband has big blue eyes, and I guess he has good lashes, but dang, he has big blue eyes. And Terry in Scotland, Mr. Dodger is a baseball with a Dodger cap on? Well, that's boring. But okay. And sports ball, volcanoes, cat farts. Is there a pattern here? No, I don't think. If there is, we're gonna need ChatGPT to find it, my friend. I don't think that I've got any, I don't have any rhyme or reason. And so if you can find a secret algorithm within our talk, some sort of pattern, well then let AI, bring it, let AI identify it, because I don't know what it is. And really, Pinnell, your friend Nick had turquoise eyes. That is kind of rare. My eyes are blue, but they have like a bunch of brown streaks in them, so I don't really know what color that's considered. But turquoise, how lovely. That's something that, I would have to wonder, I would have to wonder if they were wearing contact lenses. See, Honda, you're lying. The mascot is Japanese kanji. I don't think so. I think you're a liar, see, Honda. I can't remember the mascot. Could it be a churro? Ooh, that sounds good. No, Terry in Scotland said it's a big old baseball. And yes, my chatter really scatters. That is the fun of it. All right, so that is true. It is scattery and it is fun. But actually, I did want to talk to you guys about something that's kind of not fun. And so I'm just curious. So we are actually literally like totally switching gears. But there's a reason why here. So I wanted you guys to, I don't know how aware people are of this thing, and it's becoming, in my neighborhood, way more prevalent than it has been in a long, ever. But are you guys at all familiar with kratom or kratom? 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 Because that is something that, excuse me, that is something that, is showing up in regular stores these days. Kratom and kratom, about 10 years ago, almost got outlawed by the DEA. But then it they reversed their course and it became legal again. And as a general rule, you could only find kratom products in head shops, vape shops, smoke shops, etc. But now they're actually popping up in regular convenience stores. And not only are they popping up in regular convenience stores, it's not like it's behind the counter with the 5-hour energy drinks or whatever. Like, some of these drinks are showing up in and next to energy drinks, soda pops, lemonades, etc. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, here's these products that are showing up in a lot of places, being advertised as an alternative to alcohol, being advertised as an energy booster. Instead of 5-hour energy, take this little shot before you go running. It's being advertised as a relaxing agent. It's being advertised as an energy booster for pre-workout to help you go burst through your workout. It's advertised as a bit of a pain reliever, and it is all of these things. But if you don't know what kratom is, you might inadvertently become an addict. Kratom is a tea. It's a leaf from a plant. It's been used in Southeast Asia for a long, long time, and it has a mild analgesic effect. In smaller doses, it amps you up. In bigger doses, it calms you down, and it works on the opioid receptors in your brain. And it's considered, it's not, technically speaking, it is not an opioid, but it's considered like a false opioid. Your body treats it like an opioid. So if you drink this every day, you can and will become an addict. Now, this sounds all dangerous and horrifying. Oh my God, if this is so awful, why do we have it legal? Well, there's a reason why, because with every bad, there is a good. And see, Honda, really, you've never heard of it. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that now that we've had this discussion, you might actually start noticing kratom signs advertising kratom sold here, etc., etc. It is in the in the Puget Sound. You can't go a block without running into a store that sells some sort of kratom, but it never really bothered me because it was in head shops, vape shops, smoke shops, clearly adult shops where you're going to feed your addictiveness anyway, right? But like I just said, I've lately been seeing it in random places like 7-Eleven. And I've also, and I wish that I had this video, this one video of this kid who had for about a month inadvertently been taking a kratom shot before his jog. And one day, doing his little pre-jog ritual, he happened to have a friend with him. And so he went and he got his little 5-hour energy shot, only it wasn't, it's like a liquid gold shot or whatever. And the friend was like, hold up. Before you drink this, let me read the label. And he's like, dude, this is like a fake opioid. And so dude was like completely shocked. And luckily he didn't ever become addicted to it. But if you do Google or YouTube search kratom addiction, it has happened. It's obviously not as major as a heroin situation, but it is very, very uncomfortable to withdraw from. So now that I have given all the scariness, oh my God, why is this product even allowed to be a thing? I'm going to steal from the interwebs from a comedian, Trey Crowder. He's also known as the redneck comedian, or the liberal redneck. And he has, and this video that I'm going to show you is not family friendly, all sorts of swear words, but there's a reason why I'm showing this, despite the fact this is very much not verbiage that we normally use here. But before we show that video, Terry in Scotland, the legal status of kratom varies by location. While it's legal in many states, it's banned in Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Wisconsin, with Texas implementing new regulations through Senate Bill 497. Consumers are advised to check local laws and purchase from reputable vendors that provide third-party lab testing for contaminants and alkaloid content. Right. Yeah, and I don't drink pop either, but I was just at my local, my down the street bodega that I get my ramen at, that I buy my candy at when I do splurge on candy. I was looking, I was actually going to go get some Liquid Death, and sparkling water, and right on the shelf below the sparkling water was a drink that I was like, does that say kratom on it? And I looked at it, and then I noticed that the whole shelf below the sparkling water was kratom drinks, and some of them make it very, very obvious that they're kratom drinks, like kratom seltzer. You can't not know what's in it. But New Brew, this stuff, you don't necessarily realize what's in it. The labeling isn't necessarily so obvious. So anyway, I'm going to show you this. This guy, the liberal redneck, Trey Crowder, he basically explains why, as scary and awful as this kind of is, it serves a purpose, and it actually is doing our society a bit of a favor in a way, because lots of former opiate addicts use this to stay off heroin. They use it to stay off OxyContin. They use it to stay off and stay clean. It's actually it's almost a medically assisted rehabilitation. So we're gonna get the kids out of the room. There's a lot of F-bombs in here, okay? And there is some politics going on, but this is the liberal redneck, and this is his words, not mine necessarily, but anyway. This explains why, even though everything that I just said was like, oh my God, this is awful, why are we allowing this? This is why we're allowing this.
Personal to me. Pills. Yeah, pills are a big thing with us rednecks, and I ain't talking about heart pills or the ones that keep the sugar from taking you to meet Jesus early. I mean, we fucks with them too, but I'm talking about party pills. That hillbilly heroin, hydros, roxys, oxys, Percocets, son. And ain't no party like a Percocet party, because a Percocet party destroys families. I know about the pillbilly problem firsthand because I come from pillbilly stock. That's right. My mama's a recovering addict who went to jail multiple times over my life for selling pills. She did want me to emphasize in this video, though, that she, and I quote, did it for a long damn time before them motherfuckers ever caught me, though, honey. Y'all know how mamas are. But I want to talk about this because I don't think it gets talked about enough, and because the DEA just did something that's going to make it even worse. This is a literal epidemic and nobody gives a shit. Partly because it has mostly affected poor people, and every upstanding middle and upper class American knows that poor people are just super gross, but also because pills are legal, and so the perception's completely different. You can pop a prescription bottle at a toddler's birthday, and when you pass out face down in the cobbler, all anybody will say is, bless her heart, Debbie sure is under a lot of stress. But you smoke crack in one board meeting. Look, I'm here to tell you, pills are as bad as any drug out there. I've seen it, but it's not recognized because they have made a lot of dirty people a lot of dirty money. They ain't gonna acknowledge the problem. They want you on pills. Why do you think weed still ain't legal? Pharmaceutical companies respond to any safe alternative to their product the way that Fox News responds to women standing up for themselves. You can't have that shit, son. And they're doing it again right now. This is kratom. It's a tea made from the leaves of a plant related to coffee that has been consumed in Southeast Asia for hundreds of years. And it's the only tea I fuck with that you can't get at a chicken buffet. It's a mild stimulant that hits some of the same parts of your brain that opiates do, and so a lot of addicts have been using it to keep off of the hard shit, which does not sit well with the lizards at the farm companies. And so their lapdogs at the DEA have announced that as of September 30th, kratom will be banned in the U.S. This all-natural herb with hundreds of years of harmless human consumption behind it will be placed on the Schedule 1 alongside drugs like heroin and ecstasy. Sound familiar, weed people? In the report, the DEA noted 14 kratom-related overdoses last year. First of all, none of those were from kratom alone. There's never in recorded history been an overdose from kratom alone. Sound familiar, weed people? Secondly, 14,000 people OD'd on pills last year. This would be like us banning pole vaulting because of concussions. They said it's also because kratom has no known medical benefits, just like they said about weed for years, and just like weed, that's very debatable. But more importantly, neither do honey buns, motherfucker. Who gives a shit? But the worst thing the DEA said to me was where they noted that their biggest concern with kratom was the fact that some people were using it as an alternative to heroin and opiates. No fucking shit. I lost my mama for most of my life, and my aunt and more cousins than I care to count forever to that shit. Any substance that is a safe alternative for that is a good thing, you big government ass puppet fuck sticks. This would be like the NRA trying to ban airsoft guns because people weren't using actual assault rifles. You know what? Let's not give them motherfuckers any ideas. There's a petition out there. I put it in the comments. Holler at it. Tell the DEA to go fuck themselves. Remind them that the war on drugs ended and they fucking lost. This ain't freedom. It ain't American. It ain't right. Of course, you can fill the Grand Canyon with all the fucks the DEA don't give about what is and is not right. But hey, it's worth a shot. Oh, tastes like a wood elf's cum.
All right, so there you go. That video is 9 years old, and the petition that he was talking about was signed, and the DEA has since reversed their course. Hence, why we're having this conversation 9 years later about where things are and how available they are. Obviously, they're not legal in some states. Darlene, it would make sense that you would never have seen or heard of kratom because it's illegal in your state. But in my state, it is legal. And let me tell you, it's not only everywhere, it's even more places than it used to be. And so, like I said, I'm not, I'm not here to tell you what to drink, what not to drink, etc., etc. But I can say that all of these alcohol alternatives and, herbal supplements and this, that, and the other thing, anything that is not FDA controlled or regulated is something that you probably want to look into on your own. And so, I don't know, I just had a feeling that, that you guys might not have heard of kratom, and because of the particular, merchandise that I recently saw and how subtly labeled the kratom content was, and how it was right next to sparkling water in the convenience store refrigerator, I have a feeling that some people are gonna accidentally consume this, not understanding what it is they're consuming. They're gonna think it's maybe just like, a yerba mate tea or a kombucha or some other herbal blah blah blah, right? And Verity Hunt, is it useful? Are we pro or con kratom? Well, I am pro kratom in the sense that it is helping people stay off of pharmaceuticals. I am against it in the sense that I would like to not see it in the convenience stores. I would like to keep it in the smoke shops, in the vape shops. I don't feel comfortable with it next to sparkling water and juice. And not only next to sparkling water and juice, it was actually lower on the shelf. Like the sparkling water you had to reach up as an adult, reach up for, whereas the kratom is more like children's eye level. I'm not comfortable with how readily available it is, and consequently, it makes me basically, I feel like people might accidentally become addicted to it and not realize just what they've done. because a lot of people don't know what kratom is, and they don't necessarily know how much, or they don't know what it is or what it does. They just know that they took this drink and now they feel kind of neat and they have a lot of energy, just like the 5-hour energy. They felt neat and had a lot. Well, 5-hour energy, whatever's in that crap, it isn't going to cause an actual physical dependence in brain chemistry the way the kratom does. And are there any studies or quality control? Well, now Verity, indeedly do. That's another problem. The FDA doesn't regulate kratom, so quality control, meh, hard for say. It all depends on how reputable your food processor is, the product that you're buying, right? And in regards to studies, there are plenty of studies about how it's used, how safe it is, and Terry was just mentioning kratom has been discovered to be remarkably unsafe with alcohol. Just don't do it. So we do know a lot about it, medically speaking, but the public doesn't know a lot about it. And let's see here. And might it be considered a gateway to harder stuff? Well, Terry, whoa, hold on. A lot of stuff can be considered a gateway to harder stuff. If you ask people who do hard drugs, what's the first drug they probably did? Cigarettes and beer. So I'm not so worried about the gateway to harder stuff as much as it's an accidental well, an unmarked well that you can fall into. You didn't know you were about to partake in a potentially addictive substance. That's really where my concern is just how available and where the availability is and the labeling of it. That's just my main concern. And Darlene, I have to say, I really am. I hope that Darlene's feelings on the video that I just showed are shared amongst you all. I know that we try to keep our language clean, and that video was the opposite of what we try to do here. But excuse me, Troy Crowder, that was done in a true Troy Crowder style. As Darlene says, I've seen other videos of his, and if this helps with he says things, says stuff with the heart, like the hard stuff, I'm okay with that. And so there you go. And Pinnell coming in, exactly. I knew a girl who got addicted to Percocets. She had bad arthritis, had a hip replacement and all in her 20s. Precisely. They took her off of it cold turkey and she bought it off the streets. Lost her apartment and all. Precisely. And that is exactly what Trey Crowder was saying is one of the problems they have with the kratom is that people are using it instead of the pills. Well, it's the pills that you're going to be buying on the street, which also no quality control. And you might be losing your flipping apartment because it's $10 a pill, as opposed to $2 a can. And so the kratom does serve a purpose. That lady that Pinnell knew, had she decided to get kratom instead of the Percocets, she might still have her apartment. She'd still be an addict. Okay, she would still be an addict. Lots of people are addicts and they don't deserve to lose their apartment. If they can function and still pay their bills and be a person in society, right? And so the kratom does sort of help fulfill a niche market. I just would like to keep it in that niche market. I don't want to see it spreading. That's all. And Verity, what's the one that leaves people a little more than zombies? I've seen people on something weird. Oh, I think you're talking about the fentanyl and trank combo, at least in my city. Like, if you ever see somebody just like standing there in the strangest position, it's because they're on this thing called trank, and trank and fentanyl together create like this weird high. And anyway, yeah, there's kratom is not that, actually. Kratom won't leave you like that. And that's another thing, like, of all the things you can be addicted to, it absolutely isn't as bad as other things you could be addicted to. And exactly, Pinnell, at least with caffeine, people know that it's addictive. Precisely. So basically, I just want to bring the word out because it does seem like in the last decade or so, Kratom is growing in accessibility, in ease of accessibility, and that is, that's just an eyebrow raiser for me. And I know I'm sounding like I'm an old anti-drug biddy here, but just, you got to be aware of what's out on the streets. And also, here's the deal. I'm not saying that we should make it illegal, because anytime you make something illegal, you've just created a black market. And a black market is never where people should be getting things. So ultimately, I guess, if you guys are asking, because I've been unclear, am I pro or con Kratom? I guess I'm pro, because I don't think it'd be a good idea to create yet another black market. Right? Alrighty, you guys. Let's see here. Terry in Scotland. My ex-brother-in-law worked his way up through painkillers to OxyContin. Right, he came unglued when his GP cut him off from Oxy. Precisely. And that's what Trey Crowder was sort of saying is, a lot of people are making a lot of money off of these pharmaceuticals. So, and then they take those someone becomes addicted, and so now suddenly you can't get that pharmaceutical anymore. Well, that's going to force them onto the street and doing bad things. Or, best case scenario, turn to Kratom and carry on. And also, this is something that can literally happen to anybody. If you or a family member or a friend of a friend, if you hear of them going through opiate withdrawal, suggest Kratom to them. It will help ease the symptoms. If you've ever known anybody who's gone through opiate withdrawal, it's a horrific thing, and it lasts for days, sometimes weeks. And it's an awful thing. And so when someone has the flu, you want to give them flu medicine. When someone's going through withdrawal, there's two types of withdrawal medicine. The drug they're withdrawing from, or Kratom. Kratom, easily accessible, no laws broken. You can get it in a drink form at the local convenience mart. So, just keep this info, up your sleeve. Use it as you will. Come to your own conclusions about it. I'm definitely not trying to tell you how to think. But yeah, this is a thing, and I really have a feeling we're going to be hearing more and more about it, and there's going to be a lot of scare tactics about it, because you can become addicted to it. But there's a good and a bad of everything. Like Trey Crowder said, honey buns ain't really good for you, and they're not, And how does Kratom compare to methadone? Terry, you know what? I would say, if you're asking from a neuroscience perspective, I absolutely could not begin to tell you. But I would say from a medically assisted therapy point of view, when it comes to rehab and recovery, it absolutely falls into the same category. It would be considered medically assisted therapy. And lots of people it's a huge divide in the drug treatment community, whether or not medically assisted sobriety is true sobriety or not. But harm reduction folks basically are like, look, if they can take this one pill a day, drink this one thing a day, hold a job, and pay their bills and be a functional person, okay, fine. They're maybe addicted to Kratom, but they're still functional. It's better than them being addicted to heroin, where they couldn't do anything at all. And if you're, so I don't know. Lots and lots of thoughts on medically assisted treatments, and sobrieties and recoveries, but for sure, Kratom and methadone are in the arsenal. Suboxone is another one that's in the medically assisted recovery medicine cabinet, as it were. So yeah, that was all. I just, as a general rule, we try to keep things fluffy and light. We don't try to talk about things that like matter. But this has kind of been on my mind for a few weeks now, and I just felt like, maybe we can do some learning too. And so, so today we went extra long, and I'm super sorry about that, you guys. 9 minutes. This is for sure a case of the t-shirt. Can she ever stop talking? Does she ever stop talking? No. All right, so thanks for letting me put this info down your face, and hopefully we will see each other soon. Hopefully we'll see each other again if I haven't scared you all away. Like, oh my God, if this is what this is gonna be from now on, I don't want to do nothing with her. But yeah, maybe on, let's see here, it's Wednesday today, so Saturday we're gonna watch a movie called Vacation Friends. There's no kratom in that. There is some cocaine, but there's no kratom. And then on Sunday we'll do a chat show, and then on Friday maybe we will see each other at Andy Bumatai's live stream. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you guys so much for putting up with me. And thank you guys for hanging out extra long. All right, you guys, take care. We will see each other soon. I hope.